Buddy, you had 20 weeks for your own team to play better. Don't be mad at me.
The passion.
Mac Jones is fighting not just for his Patriots job, but he very well may be fighting for his NFL future.
The opinions on all your favorite teams.
For the Red Sox, it can't always be about next year. It can't always be about down the road. Where's the team that battles for now?
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Brady Farkas Show, WDEV AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. We are on for the next 90 minutes here on DEV. We're on until 7 o'clock. Then we'll pitch it on over to Jazz with George Thomas. So appreciate all of you being with us now. You know, Danny, it's interesting. I got a message yesterday, and I think it's fair, right? A fair message on the text line, which you can get in on 802-585-3026 from a texter who said, Brady, you need a new intro. You've had this intro for too long. And, you know, I think that texter is right. We've had that intro since we have them dated. We've had that intro since September 6th. I don't like to let them go more than 2 months. We are just over 2 months. So I think it's fair. I think the texter is right. It's time for a new intro. I wanted it to play again today, though, because never has that intro hit like it hits right now. Because in that intro, in the little clips, it says something to the effect of me saying, not only is Mac Jones fighting for his Patriots job, he's fighting for his NFL future. That's where we're at right now with Mac Jones. Now, when I said that 2 months ago, I believed it, but it wasn't kind of a known thing around the NFL yet. It is now a known thing around the NFL. Mac Jones is in a very serious kind of career crossroads right now. I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know if he's going to be the starter in New England next year. I don't know if he's going to be cut from the Patriots next year. I don't know if he's going to be traded. I don't know if he will be picked up and will be a starter somewhere else, if he will be a backup somewhere else, a third stringer somewhere else. We have no idea. But when I said that 2 months ago, I had no idea just how right I was going to be. I believed it, but I had no idea how right I was going to be. Mac Jones is fighting for his NFL future. And right now, he doesn't appear to be in a great spot. I do think he'll get another chance. I do think he may even get another chance in New England. But he is fighting for his NFL future. Absolutely. No doubt about it. You can get in on the text line, 802-585-3026. You look at guys. Look, the NFL is littered with first-round picks who have flamed out in their original spots and have gone on to other situations and have had varying degrees of success, right? Baker Mayfield is the starting quarterback right now for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? Do we think he's great? No, but he's got a starting job. It's the third different team, actually the fourth different team he started for between Cleveland, Carolina, the Rams for a spell last year, and now in Tampa. Sam Darnold got a second chance in Carolina after Baker got hurt, and now he's in San Francisco riding the pine. We've seen Mitch Trubisky get a second life in Pittsburgh and then ultimately get benched and become a backup quarterback again to Kenny Pickett. We saw what happened to Teddy Bridgewater for years. We've seen what's happened to Geno Smith. It only took him 7 or 8 years to get going again. Carson Wentz, you saw him. He just got signed last week by the Los Angeles Rams after being out the entirety of this year. So, like, the NFL is littered with the careers of highly drafted quarterbacks who move on to other places. Maybe that's going to be Mac Jones. We don't know for a fact, but I know I was right when I said that 2 months ago or so. You can get in on the text line, 802-585-3026. Again, it's 802-585-3026. I'm here. Danny's here. You're here. Lego.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And here we go.
The opening thoughts on the Brady Farkas Show are brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and by Swanton Lumber, Vermont and upstate New York's complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Rouse's Point, New York. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. Aaron Deloney, by the way, UVM men's basketball star, is going to be with us about an hour from now. He'll be with us at about 6:30. So, Danny, right, we were just talking big picture about Mac. We'll get back to the big picture stuff momentarily, but let's look at the micro level right now. The Patriots' next game. week 12, right? They're off this week, week 11, coming back from Germany. Week 12, they're going to take on the woeful, New York Giants with their own quarterback issues, and Tommy DeVito is their starting quarterback. I said yesterday I would not start Mac the rest of the year, barring injury, and I also said I think that Mac is the best quarterback on this roster. That said, I still wouldn't play him. Now, Trenian, whose name I do not know his last name I do not know how to say, over at NBC Sports Boston, asked a good question last night, Danny. I want you to hear her question. We will answer it.
I feel like a change has to be made, right? Like you can't come back in week 12 against the Giants and just run it back exactly as it was. But I think the Patriots are up against, Curran, what all of us have been talking about for a while is, I guess any option at this point might be better than Mac Jones, but is Bailey Zappi going to be better? Is Will Grier? At this point, is change actually good just for the sake of change?
It's not just for the sake of change. That's the point. There does need to be a change made, and it's not just for the sake of change. There's two reasons why you make a change at quarterback right now. One is you're protecting Mac Jones from himself, and in turn, you're protecting Mac Jones for you and your future as well. We have no idea what Mac Jones' future is going to be, but if he's going to be of any use to the New England Patriots in the future, you can't allow him to go out and put 6 more games on tape looking like he's looked for the last several weeks. You just can't do it, right? Like, I feel for Mac Jones, and I heard Herm Edwards say the same thing. I have a heart, I have compassion, I have empathy. I feel bad for what Mac Jones is going through. As someone who was eaten alive by his own struggles in Babe Ruth baseball and high school baseball and high school basketball, I can only imagine how hard what Mac Jones is going through is, right? I have real empathy for that. So one, I would sit Mac Jones down to help Mac Jones. He is not going to benefit from this. Mentally, he is cooked. Mentally, he is finished. Nothing good will come from Mac Jones playing at this point. We talked about, okay, moral victories, and can you get some positives, and can you gain some momentum? All of that is gone. He's not going to accomplish those things. Sitting him down is best for him. He needs a reset. Heck, I wouldn't even dress him in week 12, right? Think about this, right? We talk about in baseball, pitcher who's really struggling gets sent to the injured list. He's not really hurt, but he gets sent to the injured list to get 15 days to clear his head, or gets sent to AAA to clear his head. Those aren't really options in football, right? The option I have here with Mac Jones is I'm simply going to bench him. I'm not going to dress him because nothing good is going to come from it. So it's not making a change for the sake of making a change. I'm making a change to help Mac. And then by doing that, I am also helping my football team somehow for the future. If I want Mac to be my quarterback for any portion of 2024, whether it is one game at the start of the year or whether it's all of next season, if I want him to be my quarterback in 2024, I can't allow him to go through 6 more games of what he's gone through. Let's cut our losses for this season now. Let's give him a jump start on getting himself mentally right, on going through reps, on watching film in a different way, on seeing a defense in a different way, on running the scout team where he's able to play a little more free, on working with a sports psychologist or whatever it is that he may need to do. Let me get the jump start on it now. If I want Mac Jones for myself in any level, in any way in 2024, him not playing is best for that. If I don't care about Mac playing for me, and I want to maybe trade Mac in the offseason, I can't let him put 6 more games worth of bad tape on tape. I can't let him do it. He has looked so bad. He's got 10 interceptions, which I believe is second most in the NFL behind only Josh Allen, ironically enough. So he's throwing picks. He's taking sacks. He's not seeing defense as well. He's infatuated with a pass rush that isn't always there. His mechanics have gone to hell. If I want him to have any value on the trade market, I can't let him take the field again in 2023, barring injury. So it is not making a change for the sake of making a change. It is making a change to help Mac, preserve Mac's mental psyche, and also preserve some semblance of value in Mac for me. So that's number one. The other reason why you have to make a change, Danny, is you have to send the right message to the locker room. I haven't really been on this kick at any other point of this season, I'm on this kick now. I don't know if Bill Belichick is going to be here in 2024. I don't know how many of these players are going to be here in 2024. But if you are trying to preserve any notion of accountability, any notion of Patriots culture, then you can't have Mac Jones play, right? You just cut Jack Jones for doing the wrong things off the field. You have to show that there are repercussions for wrong things on the field as well. Heck, we saw Ramondre Stevenson a couple of years ago benched for multiple games because of one fumble. We saw Pop Douglas, Danny, not see the field in the rest of week 2 against Miami and then barely touch the ball again for weeks after that. We saw him taken off the field as a punt returner because of kind of a muffed punt against the Jets in week 3. Like, Bill Belichick has shown that when you screw up on the field, he's going to punish you. So far, Mac Jones has kept getting chance after chance after chance. This is where it has to end. And I like Mac as a person, right? I feel bad for what he's going through. He's an imperfect player. He's an imperfect leader. He's not my favorite person, but I don't think he's a bad guy. He's not trying to do things the wrong way. There's a difference between him and between Jack Jones and between him and between J.C. Jackson. There is a difference. But the accountability thing on field has to come into play here. If Bill Belichick wants to look the media in the eye and talk about how ball security is the most important thing, and if Bill Belichick wants to look at his players and talk about how ball security is the biggest thing, and if Bill Belichick every day is going to say that Kayshon Boutte can't play because we're going to play the guys that give us the best chance to win, then he's got to hold Mac Jones to those standards as well. I believe much more in my former statements than these about it being the best for Mac and the best organization, but these are valid as well. It is not change for the sake of change. There are real reasons behind why I'm going to make a change at quarterback. You're going to get in 802-585-3026. My guy Ty over in Canada, who we haven't heard from since last March, I see on the text line, says the Pats' downward spiral is the direct result of poor drafting and player development. That's on Belichick. How do we expect Mac Jones to perform at an elite level when there's holes all over the offensive side of the roster? That's very, very fair, right? The Patriots continue to do things in the draft that are befuddling and continue to do things in the draft that are costing them, right? I think they had a nice run a couple of years ago, right? A nice run a couple of years ago, right? When they got Uche and they got Barmore, I think they came in the same class. Let's look at 2022, right? Cole Strange has been okay, but has been injured and was benched for a time. That was your first round pick in 2022. That's not a star. Tyquan Thornton, 2 years in, he's been a bust. Marcus Jones, I think, is very exciting. He's been hurt nearly the entire year. He's out for the year. Jack Jones, 4th round pick, cut. Pierre Strong, 4th round pick, traded. Bailey Zappi, 4th round pick, you cut him. Kevin Harris, Sam Roberts, Chasen Hines, Andrew Stuber, we haven't seen any of them very, very much at all in Patriots tenures. So that was your 2022 class, which has given you essentially nothing. 2021, okay, this is where so Barmore was a hit. Stevenson was a hit. Beyond that, Mac, well, we've seen what he's become. Ronnie Perkins, gone. Cameron McGrone, couldn't tell you if he ever played. I couldn't tell you if he's apparently played 9 games for the Patriots, didn't remember it. Josh Bledsoe, he gets on the field, doesn't do anything. William Sherman and Trey Nixon. Trey Nixon has never played for the New England Patriots. So that's 2 hits out of 7 or 8, I should say, in your 2021 class. This year in 2023, Christian Gonzalez hurt. Keon White we like. Marte Mapu doesn't play. Jake Andrews doesn't play. Chad Ryland, okay, 4th round's too high for a kicker, but at least he's contributed. City So, he's been forced into starting action, fine. Antonio Maffey, we don't call his name. Kayshon Boutte barely gets on the field. Bryce Behringer, the punter, well, he's a punter. And then Demario Douglas, and then 2 other players, Amir Speed and Isaiah Bolden, guys that we don't really hear from, and or special teams players. So you talk about the draft for the Patriots, it hasn't been good. Barmore and Stevenson, good in 2021. Uche must have been the 2020 draft. He has played well at times. But it's a perfectly fair point to point out that the draft continues to be a problem. And as for player development, are guys getting better? Not all of them. Right? I think Marcus Jones last year got better. I think he proved himself. But beyond that, is Cole Strange getting better? No. Is Josh Uche getting better? He had a great stretch last year for a time. He's gotten better this year? No. I mean, I like Kyle Duggar. He was in the 2020 class, I think. But there's not a lot of young pieces on this roster. And the texter is right. That is on Bill Belichick. All right. So maybe we'll talk. I want to talk a little Celtics player development later as well. I saw an interesting text. I'm going to have Danny remind me on that later. But right now, it is 5:46. So we got to step aside. We got to get a break. You know what? No, I don't want to take a break just yet. Danny, I'm calling an audible here.
Don't want a break?
Don't want a break. Don't need a break. We're not getting into business news, though. Let's start. Let me go here on the draft, because the draft, we can talk all about those other guys I just mentioned, right? There's a lot of them that haven't hit. A lot of what this comes down to is the quarterback play, right? When you had Tom Brady and you had a great quarterback, it's never advantageous to miss in the draft, but you could get away with a little bit more. Well, now you have a quarterback that you have. I'm not going to say Mac Jones is a complete bust. He did take you to the playoffs. But when you have a quarterback that is iffy and maybe on his way out of town, and that's a guy you drafted, all your problems become much, much more magnified, right? Like, let me hear what Cowherd had to say yesterday, Danny. Colin Cowherd, Fox Sports Radio, talking about Mac, talking about the draft.
When you have the wrong quarterback, when you miss on a quarterback, it is quicksand. It pulls everybody down. And this morning, a very capable head coach, Robert Saleh, they want him out. Dude, all he coaches is the defense. That's all. That's what Belichick did to get 6 rings. Belichick didn't know offense. Andy Reid doesn't worry about the defense. Sean Payton's not about the defense. A coach has an expertise and a side of the ball. Robert Saleh's side of the ball is excellent. But when you have the wrong quarterback, it is quicksand. It pulls everybody down.
So he's talking about the Jets and Zach Wilson. The point holds for the Patriots. When you make a mistake on a first-round quarterback, everything looks worse. Everything else gets magnified, right? Because the quarterback is supposed to be the great eraser, the guy that can overcome the problems, the guy that can make you feel better about the problems, right? The Chargers, well, I don't love their head coach. They whiffed on J.C. Jackson. But Justin Herbert can cover up a lot of things. He can't cover up everything, but he can cover up a lot of things. You look at the Jets, and every issue they have is directly related right now to Zach Wilson and thinking he was the guy. Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville's an imperfect team. Trevor Lawrence can cover up a lot of things. Got to the playoffs last year with an imperfect roster. The Patriots are a bad team that missed on quarterback. Is Mac Jones awful? No. Has he been made awful right now by the situation he is in? Yes. And right now you have whiffed on that in the same way we saw what happened to the Broncos with Paxton Lynch and the Vikings with Christian Ponder and all these other guys, and the Jets with Sam Darnold and the Jets with Zach Wilson. When you whiff on quarterback in the draft, this is what it looks like. And this is how bad it can get. And when Colin says it's like quicksand, he is right about that. It's going to take the Patriots years to get out of this, right? The Patriots have 2 options at this point. They could try to do the quick fix and go sign some quarterback like Kirk Cousins, who I know will be coming off Achilles surgery, but they could try to sign a quarterback, quick fix that, pay a quarterback, and hope that that guy can overcome issues. Or they can go draft the quarterback in the top 5 or in the top 3 or wherever they land. And it's going to be a years-long process. It's going to be at least 2 years, right? So you've got this year Last year, which you missed the playoffs. This year, which is a failure. Next year, if they draft a quarterback, might be better, but it's not a Super Bowl year, right? Like I look at Houston right now with CJ Stroud, and I think they're 5-5 or 5-4 or something like that. They may have a chance at sneaking into the playoffs. They're ahead of schedule. They're not winning the Super Bowl this year. So Houston's going to be at least in a 2-year process with CJ Stroud. The Patriots, if they draft a quarterback, it will be next year a growing year, and then maybe they can get going again in 2025. This sets you back years when you miss at quarterback. It sets you back years. Text line going 802-585-3026. What if we traded Mac for Zach Wilson? Well, I think they both could use a change of scenery, that's for sure. Text says, watching my Lions make poor draft decisions for decades, I could spot poor draft decisions and teams lacking in talent. Be thankful the Patriots defense has played as well as they have, or the record would be a lot worse. How much worse than 2-10 can you get? Like they may, or 2-8 rather, like they may have lost by bigger margins if the defense didn't play well at times. But I don't really think the defense, Danny, has played that well. Do you?
Not really. Some games.
There are games, right? Like they played well against Indy, but there are moments, but this team doesn't get like any takeaways. First 7 games or whatever, they had like 4 takeaways. Didn't get a pick until, it feels like about week 3 or 4. I don't have that in front of me, but like we've talked a lot. Danny, I think they're last in the NFL in takeaways still. Can you find that quick?
I'll look.
Okay. They're at the bottom of the league when it comes to takeaways. If they're not at the bottom, they are right near the bottom. So the defense has had moments and it has been solid at times, but it's been very injured, and I give them a pass on some of that. They also don't turn the ball over like they have at years past. So it is definitely, the defense has been okay. I don't think that it's been great. All right. Any luck finding that, Danny, right away?
Yeah, still looking.
All right. Well, I'll see if I can find it real quick. Let's see. This is real great radio. The Patriots had, now again, remember, not every team has played the same amount of games, so there is going to be some fluctuation there. Team takeaway leaders, looks like the Saints are near the top, Cincy's near the top, Jacksonville's near the top. The Patriots are second from the bottom. The Bears had the fewest. The Falcons, Patriots, Giants, and Cardinals. Hey, what do they have? What do they have in common there? 3 of those 4 teams are horrible. They're all near the bottom. So they have 10 takeaways this season. I don't want to. Screw this break, Danny. We're just going to keep going until 6:00. One of the things that I have said for years, other people in the media are starting to pick up on about Mac. Danny, let me hear what Meg Ottolini of WEEI in Boston had to say about Mac earlier today.
I think when he came in as a rookie, he was extremely close to the finished product of Mac Jones. He was close to his ceiling in his rookie season. And that was maybe the best that he was going to play. But I can't sit here and say, even with him hitting the rookie wall, that he couldn't play, that he could never play, because he did.
So this is what I've said about Mac for years. And Danny, even before you were on the show, I was saying this. Mac Jones came out of Alabama as largely a finished product. It's why I was skeptical of him from the start, okay? You have to look at the situation that Mac had, right? So Mac didn't have massive athleticism, right? He was never going to be a great athlete. So he was never going to have that to fall back on or that to rely on. So I try to think about, like, okay, where can guys get better, right? Like, so let's look at Josh Allen for a second. So Josh Allen went to Wyoming. He came into the league with unbelievable physical talent, right? He could throw the ball a mile. He could run pretty fast. He's pretty powerful. So he always had a good base set of skills. What he didn't have at Wyoming was he didn't play with a lot of talent. So you had to figure, okay, when he gets around better talent, he's going to be better. Also, I'm not knocking Wyoming's coaching, but he didn't have the best coaching available to him. You had to think when he got NFL coaching, he was going to get better. So you could see areas right off the top where he was going to make massive gains. And you take those massive gains with the massive raw skills that he had, And you can see the guy that got the Bills to the playoffs for multiple years in a row and may get them there again this year, although I know he's having a bit of a regressive year right now. So you could see the spots where he was going to get better, and you could pair it with what he already had. When you look at Mac, here was the issue. He didn't have that great physical skill set to fall back on, right? So he was never going to become a great runner. He was never going to develop a much better arm. He wasn't going to go from throwing 87 miles an hour to 97. Maybe he was going to go from 87 to 89, but he was never going to get massively better in the physical skill set. So then I look at the other things. Well, like Josh Allen, I said, okay, Josh Allen didn't play with elite talent. Mac Jones played with as elite a talent as you can get at Alabama. So he wasn't going to get a bump there, right? Comparatively, the talent he played with in the NFL was probably going to be worse than the talent he had at Alabama, right? Alabama head and shoulders above most of the teams he played in college. In an NFL situation, the talent, you're never that far ahead talent-wise. So he wasn't going to get a big jump there. And as for coaching, when he came in, he was gifted Josh McDaniels an offensive coordinator. Now, we can say what we want about Josh McDaniels as a head coach, but Josh McDaniels has proven to be an effective offensive coordinator, an effective quarterback developer. He's worked with Brady. He worked with Brissett. He worked with Derek Carr last year. He's worked with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, all of these guys have done well under Josh McDaniels. So he was gifted into a very good coaching situation. Now, the coaching situation then has gotten worse, and hey, surprise, surprise, Mac has gotten worse. But you're seeing the writing on the wall. When Mac came in, he was a largely finished player. I use this analogy all the time, and I apologize for repeating it. Back in the day, you'd play a video game, and every player would have a rating from 0 to 100, right? The best players are 100s, 99s. The worst players are 50s. Well, it's Mac Jones. I always thought he was going to come in pretty polished, right? He was going to come in pretty good. He was going to come in at a 74. That's better, I'm sure, than what Josh Allen came in at. But in terms of where Mac Jones was going to go, he didn't have much room to grow. He was going to go from 74 to 76, 78 to 80, and he was going to land at the Jimmy Garoppolo, Jared Goff in LA. He was going to land in their category. And that's not good enough. Whereas Josh Allen, he might have come in more raw. He might have come in at a 65. But because of those gains and because of that skill set, he was going to go from 65 to 74 to 79 to 86 to 93. And he's going to become one of the best players overall in the NFL. Now, you can't always predict it. You can't always get it right. But when we talk about guys having a ceiling, Mac is the guy that we're talking about. He doesn't have the physical skill set. He doesn't have the tools in the toolbox. And the other stuff, he already had the best. It wasn't like, oh, he's going to get better coaching in the NFL. He's going to get better players. He already had the best. He had Nick Saban. He had Alabama's O-line. He had Alabama's wide receiver group. And he had Alabama's schedule. You don't get that in the NFL. So, yeah, Meg Adelini is right. And she's on board with something I've been saying for years now. Largely a finished product. And that's where the Patriots are in trouble. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM at WDEVradio.com. Text says, I got to admit, you were so right. The Patriots weren't going to have the same high-level defense as last year. I was wrong about that. Kudos to you. It's the NFL, man. The NFL defensively, a lot of it is about turnovers forced. And turnovers forced are not a repeatable thing, right? Every year you play a different schedule, you play a different group of quarterbacks under different weather, under different circumstances. Last year, the Patriots forced 1 million turnovers and scored a bunch of points off of them. They were never going to have that again this year, right? It's why teams have started to invest in offense, because if you're great defensively one year, it doesn't mean you're going to be great defensively the next year. You got to continue to get better offensively. We will talk about Mac Jones some more. What is next for him in his career? We'll get to that next on the other side of CBS News on DEV.
This is WDEV.
Vermont's news station, owned and operated by the Radio Vermont Group. From the top at Sugarbush at 96.1 FM, WDEV Warren and Waitsfield. In Barrie at 96.5. In Montpelier at 98.3. Along with our founding station, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury, Montpelier. Streaming at WDEVradio.com. 92 years of serving Vermont. The friendly pioneer, WDEV.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Monica Ricks. Breaking news from Capitol Hill.
On this vote, the yeas are 336, the nays are 95. 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended. The bill is passed.
The House just overwhelmingly passed Speaker Mike Johnson's two-tiered stopgap spending proposal to avoid a government shutdown. It's now sending that measure to the Senate for approval. A Senate hearing went off the rails today.
We can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Oh,
stop it.
Bernie Sanders had to break up the fight between Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin and Teamsters leader Sean O'Brien during a labor hearing. It followed some trash talk on social media. And then there was a physical fight. CBS's Scott McFarland.
Tennessee Republican Tim Burchett tells CBS News he was punched in the kidney in a sucker punch by former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Mr. Burchett of Tennessee was one of 8 Republicans who voted to oust him earlier this year.
The U.S. confirms Hamas has been holding hostages at Gaza's largest hospital, where it's been operating since attacking Israel. Sabrina Singh's with the Pentagon.
Hamas and PIJ members operate a command and control node from Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza City. They have weapons stored there and are prepared to respond to an Israeli military operation against the facility.
About 60,000 people called for the release of hostages today in Washington.
Speakers, including Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, addressed the crowd.
We stand with Israel.
And he denounced the spread of anti-Semitism around the world.
That's CBS's Linda Kenyon reporting. Still no arrests after a teen's brutal beating death in Las Vegas. Here's CBS's Matt Piper.
Jonathan Lewis says his son Jonathan Jr. was attacked after he jumped in to help a friend.
My son was just trying to do the right thing and protect his friend. He's a big kid. He's really strong.
The 17-year-old was badly beaten near the Las Vegas high school and days later died. Videos have been shared to social media. Once the father says he will not watch.
The man accused of beating former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband last year took the stand today in the Bay Area. CBS's Elise Preston is there.
In his testimony, he said that he was not trying to stop her from her official business. Of course, in police audio and what the prosecution kind of got at today, they countered that he had said that he wanted her to wheel into the House floor in a wheelchair. And so people could see what was the consequence of lying. Those were his words.
He's pleaded not guilty to federal assault charges. This is CBS News.
You don't need a job platform, you need a hiring partner. Indeed lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credits.
The countdown to 4,000 is on at Lamoille Valley Chevy. Folks, earlier this year, we challenged our teams to sell 4,000 vehicles in 2023, and here's my brother Pat to tell you how we're going to get there. Folks, Dan and I love a goal, and so does our team. To reach our goal, we have instructed the entire Lamoille Valley Chevy team to do whatever it takes to make deals and earn your business. Right now, with Big Chevy year-end rebates, low-interest financing on many models to qualified buyer, and some incredible lease deals, now is the perfect time to get a vehicle at Lamoille Valley Chevy. Come and get your best deal on any new Chevy SUV or light-duty truck in stock and 4 winter snow tires for $1. Pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, no problem. Lamoille Valley Chevy will still include 4 new winter snow tires on your deal for $1. Folks, right now at Lamoille Valley Chevy, our 7-acre lot is covered with over 200 new and pre-owned cars, SUVs, and a ton of Chevy Silverado trucks. So come get a great deal plus 4 snow tires for $1 during the countdown to 4,000, happening now at Lamoille Valley Chevy, located just past Stowe and Morrisville in the beautiful town of Hyde Park, Vermont.
Have you been thinking about installing a heat pump but didn't know where to start? Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Air Conditioning heat pumps provide year-round comfort with air filtration and precise temperature control. Plus, generous incentives and rebates are now available. Contact the Diamond Elite Certified Technicians of the Energy Co-op of Vermont for a free quote at ecvt.net.
Use less, save more at the Energy Co-op of Vermont.
Local businesses advertise with WDEV because they get results.
I've been advertising on WDEV for a number of years now. It's been a really great spot for me to get my name out.
They're an excellent partner for our advertising dollars.
We jumped at the opportunity and we're so pleased we did. We have experienced incredible results.
Interested in advertising on WDEV? Contact us at WDEV@radiovermont.com.
Make your opinion heard by texting onto the Brady Farkas Show at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. Aaron Deloney, the UVM men's basketball standout, is going to be with us here at about 6:30. So we will catch up on the Cats. They are in Myrtle Beach right now, getting ready for the Myrtle Beach Invitational, or whatever this thing's officially called, but they're going to be playing some of the best mid-major teams in the country. They're going to open up Thursday morning, actually, against College of Charleston. So, Danny, I think we're going to have to watch that Thursday, 11:30 a.m. for the Catamounts against Charleston. Charleston last year, by the way, was the number 12 seed in the NCAA tournament. They were a very popular 12-5 upset pick. They didn't end up getting it, but they were a very popular pick. So it's a really good opening matchup there for the Catamounts. I want to continue the conversation on Mac Jones, though. 802-585-3026. What happens next? What happens next for Mac Jones? Do you trade him? Do you cut him? Is he a starter? Is he a backup? Where exactly are you going for this? Or where are you going with this for Mac Jones and his future? I will say this. What Mac Jones needs next season is Mac Jones needs a coach who really cares about people. And that's not Bill Belichick. I'm not saying it can't be in New England, but it's not going to be Bill Belichick. Mac Jones needs a guy who cares about people, who fosters relationships, who is there to be someone who is there to uplift. Mac Jones is not going to play well in any situation, I think, where the coach is a hard you-know-what, or where the coach is only ever giving attention to the starter if that starter is not Mac. He's going to need to play in a place where somebody's got his back and is there to show him he believes in him. And that sounds really corny, but that works. If Bill Belichick is back in New England, Mac Jones cannot be back in New England. If Bill Belichick is fired or resigns, retires, whatever, then maybe it can be in New England. But Mac Jones needs to play for a different coach now at this point in his career, right? He was able to play for Saban, but he was so clearly the guy at Alabama, and he was playing so well, and they were so good that didn't bring him down. He can't play for Belichick anymore. He can't play for a guy like Belichick. I don't think that he would work for Mike Tomlin. I don't think that he would work for Josh McDaniels, if Josh McDaniels were, still the head coach of a team. I don't think he could play for Sean Payton necessarily. I don't think he could play for one of these grizzled veteran coaches. What he needs is a new wave coddler. And again, some of you look down on that and say it's soft, and some of you say toughen up. Fine, you could say that, but I'm here to tell you that today's athlete needs a lot more of that than yesterday's athlete did. Look at Jared Goff. Mac Jones needs the Jared Goff treatment. Mac Jones needs a guy like Dan Campbell. I have talked about this with Phil Perry. I've talked about this myself. Why does Dan Campbell work so well? And we got Ty, our guy who's our resident Lions fan, listening here on the text line. You can get in on this too. Why does Dan Campbell work? Well, a couple of reasons, right? He played the game, so that helps, right? He certainly understands football. He has the credibility of having played, so the guys know that he knows what they're going through. But also, Dan Campbell is at his core a leader, a motivator, and an uplifter. He genuinely cares about his players. He genuinely cares about the relationships. He genuinely loves his players, and he's there for his players. Why does he work? Because he gives people that belief that maybe they haven't had in themselves. That's why I think Jared Goff is playing Pro Bowl level football for the Detroit Lions. Sure, they play in a weak division, and sure, maybe the schedule is this, that, or the other. But at the end of the day, Jared Goff was discarded by the Los Angeles Rams. Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl. He went to the playoffs multiple times, and he was discarded by Sean McVay. Dan Campbell scoops him up and says, look, man, I don't know if anybody else believes in you, but I do. Okay? And we're doing this together. And he has given Jared Goff confidence. He has empowered Jared Goff. And yeah, they've got a good play caller and they've got good talent around him. It's not only about Dan Campbell, but that attitude is working for Jared Goff. Look at Tua, right? We thought that Tua was maybe broken. We thought that Tua was maybe a bust. You get Mike McDaniel in there. He does it in a different way than Dan Campbell does, right? He's not as fiery and rah-rah as Dan Campbell is, but at the end of the day, Mike McDaniel cares about people. And he has been there for Tua, and he has given Tua confidence, and he's taken the arrows for Tua with the media, and he's taken the pressure away from Tua and taken the pressure off Tua. Mac Jones needs that. And I don't know if Mac Jones is going to be a starter somewhere else next year. There's going to be a few places that need a quarterback, right? Like, I don't know what's going to happen with Minnesota. Now, maybe Josh Dobbs is their guy. Maybe they're going to draft a guy. Heck, maybe they want Mac. Kevin O'Connell might be that guy. There may be some places that give Mac Jones a starting job. But if Mac Jones ends up as a backup, he needs to be in a place that cultivates culture and where they care about people. I'm looking at my Seahawks, right? Geno Smith. I've seen this before. Like, guys can be rehabilitated. The guys who are the most broken guys you've ever thought of can be rehabilitated. Geno Smith, it took him a long time, but he gets to Pete Carroll. He gets in that culture with a guy with high energy who loves people. And Geno Smith all of a sudden starts to feel better about himself, better about his career. He puts in the work. He gets his chance. He makes the most of it. And here's Pete still to support him every step of the way. I'm watching Drew Lock, the second round draft pick by the Broncos, right? Broken in Denver. Traded to Seattle. Didn't win the starting job. But every time I hear Drew Lock talk, he talks about Pete Carroll's culture, Pete Carroll's belief, and therefore the belief he has in himself. And when Drew Lock came in and played, when I watched him in the preseason, he looks pretty good. He came in and played for a beaten up Geno Smith earlier this year. He played pretty well. They let him throw, right? Usually the backup comes in, it's handoff until the starter's back. Didn't do that. So Mac Jones will need a culture guy. He will need a people guy. Probably somebody younger. Probably somebody who is there with a more collegiate mindset. Probably somebody who is there to empower and rally the troops. Not a grizzled veteran. That's not going to work for Mac. Not now, right? He was able to deal with it with Saban. He's not dealing with it with Belichick anymore. Best piece of coaching advice I ever got. Some players need a kick in the pants, and some players need a pat on the pants. Mac Jones needs a pat right now. He needs a lot of them because he's had far too many kicks, and it has broken him, and it has beaten him, and I do feel bad for him. Right? Just because I'm right about Mac Jones doesn't mean I'm happy about this. Yes, I was right. Woohoo! Toss one up for Brady on the sports radio scoreboard. But I'm not happy to see a guy who puts all his effort and all his energy into this stuff be completely beaten down. He does need time off. He needs a break. He needs to sit. He needs to not dress. And then he needs a different head coach next year and a different style of head coach next year. If the Patriots bring both Bill Belichick and Mac Jones back next year, that will be a mistake. That will be a mistake. He will need somebody who can empower him to believe in himself again. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. Text says, how does the premier organization simply collapse? Well, it's a culmination of things, right? Look, let's just run down the list in no particular order. Mac Jones isn't as good as people wanted him to be, right? He's just simply not as good. He's not awful, but he's not as good. So then you have a quarterback that's not as good. You went out and spent a bunch of money in 2021. You gave it to the wrong guys. So Jonnu Smith did nothing for you. Nelson Aguilar did nothing for you. Jalen Mills has been Hunter Henry's been You spend a lot of money. You put yourself back in salary cap hell. You got a lot of the wrong guys, right? We've implored the Patriots to spend money and bring in weapons. They spent it, didn't bring in the right ones. So that's a problem. Drafting continues to be a problem. Development continues to be a problem. And then the usual things, right? Injuries in any one season can derail you. It's hurt the Patriots this year. Is it the sole cause of their problems? No, but it hurts. The schedule can be harder any one year than the next. Patriots have played a hard schedule. It's hard to start your year with Philly and Miami back-to-back and be 0-2. That's difficult. You look elsewhere at it, the division's gotten better, right? The division is no longer a tire fire. You had Tom Brady and everybody else was a dumpster fire, and you were guaranteed 5 or 6 division wins every year. Buffalo's been a lot better lately. The Jets, I get where they're at right now, but they've played better. They've been built better. They just have injuries themselves. And Miami's gotten very good. The regular season is not yielding you 5 or 6 guaranteed victories anymore. All of it together leads the Patriots to where they're at right now. And where they're at is pretty ugly. Danny, we got Mac talking earlier this week. This came on Sunday right after the game. It's in the bottom right of our little button bar here. Give me Mac Jones number 6.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, just like I said, didn't play very well. And I played well in my career before, but just not right now. So it's peaks and valleys, but I'm kind of in a valley right now and just got to bounce back. So
he said something to the effect also of, I've been good before, I'll be good again. I believe that's possible, right? I believe that's possible. I've seen Baker be beaten down and come back and play well. I've seen Geno be irrelevant to the league for 7, 8, 9 years, whatever it is, and come back and play well. Not everybody gets there. Carson Wentz, it hasn't happened for yet. Hasn't really happened for Mitch Trubisky in a second organization. So it's not a guarantee, but I do believe it's possible that even guys who are the most broken guys you've seen, they do end up coming back at times. They do end up coming back at times. Text says the reason why Dan Campbell works so well is because he brings the blue-collar work ethic every day. Every day is about being better than you were yesterday. It's easy to play for a guy like that. I think that's part of it, but I don't think that's – I think the real answer truly is about relationships, right? It's truly about relationships. It's truly about love. And again, it sounds corny, and it wouldn't work in the 1960s. It works today. Right? Like, think about, you're sitting in your car, you're listening to this show. Think about the kind of boss that you like to work for. Do you like to work for a boss who sits up in the top office and never speaks to you and just brings the hammer down on you when something goes wrong? Or do you like to work for a guy or a girl who comes down to the lunchroom and talks with you and asks you about your family and how's your dog doing? And hey, I heard your kid was sick. How is he? It's easier to play for one guy than the other. Look, I can tell you, I've had both kinds of bosses, right? I've had both kinds of bosses. I had one radio boss who I almost never spoke to, and almost never spoke. He sat upstairs. I worked downstairs. Never talked to me about the show. Never told me the show we were doing was good. Never told me the show we were doing was bad. Brought me in on the day the ratings come in. Yelled at me if they weren't good, said congrats if they were, and that was it. We didn't speak again until the next 4 months when the ratings came out. I didn't really like working for that guy, and he evidently didn't really like me. So I don't work there anymore. Now I work here, and I can tell you, I'm eating lunch in the back room, and Corum comes down and talks to me all the time. Hey, I played golf the other day. When's the last time you played? How'd you shoot? Hey, I heard I heard you talking on the show about, your dog. Everything good? Hey, I heard you talking about Jess. Everything good? What's going on? How is she doing? How's her job doing? Where's she working these days? Hey, how's the house search coming? Hey, when's the wedding? Like, all that kind of stuff. Right? Like, I know that he cares about me. And I don't think it makes me soft to appreciate working for one guy more than the other. So I think the Patriots worked. Like, Belichick could be so gruff because they won. And I'm not implying that Belichick doesn't care about people at all, but he's not what Mac needs right now. There's no doubt about that. I mean, Danny, am I wrong in this about about kind of the new wave of thinking. You're younger than me even. I got to imagine you appreciate a boss who's one way versus the other way more than I do even.
Yeah, and we see the results, though. The players are responding to it on the Dolphins and the Lions, so it's working.
Yes, it's absolutely working. And sure, yes, they have talent. They've done things right. It's not only about that.
And I think Tomlin is like a mix of that, right? Like he's a little old school, but he's still kind of a rah-rah guy, and they're overachieving for their talent level.
Yeah, I think that Tomlin, I said I don't think Mac would work for Tomlin. I don't think Mac would work for Tomlin as a backup, right? As a starter, I think Tomlin could probably help give confidence. I think he's probably given some confidence to Kenny Pickett. I don't see that same confidence in Trubisky. My guess is, this is totally a guess, is that Tomlin doesn't give as much attention to his backup quarterback. Like, Mac's going to need to be in a place where the guy cares about all 53. Because I don't know that Mac's going to start next year. If he doesn't, it's going to have to be a place where he's still getting attention. He's still getting value. As a starter, he will, but Tex says, what about Patriots making bad trades? I mean, you don't make a ton of trades in the NFL. It's not like they've sat here and traded away a zillion all-pros, right? They're not like a team that traded away Babe Ruth. They are a team that has made frustrating moves in the draft where they've traded down too many times, I think, and out of the first round here and out of the second round there. That frustrates me, but, the trades aren't as big a deal for it. All right, 802-585-3026. I want to get to Aaron Deloney here in just a couple of minutes. Let's get kind of to a little rapid fire Patriots audio here, Danny. So this came out Sunday before the game, right before the loss in Germany against the Colts. Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network talking about Bill Belichick and talking about his future. Again, this was pre-loss.
My understanding is Robert Kraft, the owner, is not inclined to fire Bill Belichick mid-season, which is unbelievable and amazing that we're even discussing this. But given the record, given the last couple of years, at least it is a topic in New England, on the airwaves, and elsewhere. And there's a lot of reasons, Steve, why it makes no sense to fire Bill Belichick mid-season. First of all, it's the greatest coach of all time. Sometimes these guys are treated differently. The other part of this is just functionally, if Belichick is going to somehow, some way coach elsewhere next year, Patriots have him under contract. They would at least want some sort of compensation to make this happen. And if you are going to fire him, what does that actually do? Does it give you a jump on a process when you may have his successor already in the building in Gerard Mayo? A lot of reasons why it would not make sense to move on from Bill Belichick, at least during the season.
Yeah, that lines up with everything we've said, right, Danny? I mean, one, firing the coach gives you a jump start on the next hiring, on the next hiring cycle. Well, Phil Perry told us he's pretty positive, and Tom Curran confirmed it, that Gerard Mayo would be the next guy in line. So you already have that guy in the building. So it's not about getting the jump start. Two, I do think the Crafts are classier than firing Bill Belichick in the season, especially in the midst of a lost season. But then three, that's kind of the biggest point to me here. If you're going to get rid of Bill Belichick, you'd like something back for him. And if you keep him through the season and into the offseason, then you allow yourself to work for a trade. And I don't know what the trade would be. Is it a first-round pick? Is it a second-round pick? Is it second and a second the next year? I don't know. But Bill Belichick is worth something on the trade market. He is under contract. So if I fire him and make him a free agent, well, then he goes wherever he wants and I get nothing. If the Washington Commanders call me or the Chicago Bears call me or whoever calls me and says, hey, we want Bill Belichick, great. What are you going to give me for him? And the Patriots, who are bereft of talent, can start to rebuild their talent by getting another draft pick or another 2 draft picks. I mean, Sean Payton netted the Saints a first-round pick from Denver. If Sean Payton can get a first-round pick, what can Bill Belichick get? I imagine it's something pretty good. So I'm not cutting a guy who has that kind of value to me. As frustrating as it looks right now, I can't do it, right? I really don't like Rappaport very much. I don't mean to disparage other guys in the media. I'm not a big Rappaport fan, but I think he said it right there. If you're going to get something for Belichick, then you're going to trade him and you're going to have to keep him into the offseason. Also, Robert Kraft, Patriots owner, spoke before the loss on Sunday. He was in Germany and he was asked about the then 2-7 season.
This is our 30th year that I've had the privilege of owning this team.
and I've never been 2-7. So it's really disappointing, and I had hoped that things would be a lot better, as I know our fan base did, and I hope today is a chance to reset and make this a much better year than this isn't what we were expecting to happen.
I mean, Robert Kraft kind of comes down with the like grandfatherly disappointment, voice. He's not in the, hey, I'm going to go fire everybody, doesn't sound like that, but you can tell he's very upset, right? Guys who make billions of dollars don't like losing, right? They make $1 billion because they're winners and because they like winning and they enjoy success, and they're constantly chasing success and craving it. Robert Kraft said at the owners' meetings 2 years ago, he hates that they haven't won a playoff game since Tom Brady left. He said, we're expecting to make the playoffs this year. He is immensely disappointed. He doesn't sound as angry there maybe as you want him to, but those are pretty stern words from a guy who doesn't necessarily use stern words a lot publicly. I don't think it bodes well for Bill Belichick. I don't think the Patriots want Bill Belichick back next season. Again, I think they want to do it right. I think they want to do right by him. I think they don't want the PR hit of maybe getting rid of the most winning coach of all time. I don't think they want any bad press from it. I think they're going to take their time and figure out how to do it right, but I don't think that Robert Kraft wants Bill Belichick back. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. Text says Dan Campbell also works because the Lions GM has done a great job acquiring talent. Like I said, it goes beyond culture. You have to have the players, and the Lions certainly have given themselves good players as well. Amon-Ra St. Brown, has 6 straight 100-yard games. I love watching that guy play. And I love watching Jared Goff play, too. I always thought Jared Goff got a bad rap in L.A. I saw him tear apart the Seahawks multiple times. And again, the Seahawks defense wasn't very good, and they were in a transition, so whatever. But Jared Goff shredded the Seahawks on several occasions. He got to the Super Bowl. We saw him do it. I always thought Jared Goff got a bit of a bad rap, and I'm glad that Dan Campbell has resuscitated him and his career. A team that is doing well and needs no resuscitating is the UVM men's basketball team. They are 2-0 in the early going this year. They are headed to, and I believe are already in Myrtle Beach, getting ready for a pre-holiday tournament. They'll kick it off on Thursday morning against College of Charleston. Our guy Aaron Deloney is going to stop by next. Catamounts team leader, preseason all-conference selection, gives us the skinny from Myrtle Beach next on DEV.
Hey, skiers and riders, take note. The 2 best ticket deals of the season disappear in just a few days. Sugar Bush's $99 ticket and quad packs are only on sale until November 15th. The $99 lift ticket is unrestricted and includes a free bonus day of spring skiing or riding, while the quad pack comes with 4 lift tickets that are completely transferable. Use them all yourself or share them with friends and family. They even make the perfect stocking stuffer. Snowmaking is underway and opening day is just around the corner. But these 2 deals disappear come November 15th. Over the last few seasons, Sugar Bush has invested more than $12 million in on and off mountain upgrades, including boosting the resort's snowmaking capacity, a new cabin cat for those who prefer first tracks, and the newly renovated lodge at Lincoln Peak. Experience them all with the $99 lift ticket or the Sugar Bush Quad Pack. You just have to grab them by November 15th. Visit sugarbush.com for all the details.
Are your tires ready for the winter? Don't wait. Call Snowfire Auto to schedule your tire changeover today and experience the exceptional service they're known for. And if you need new tires, Snowfire Auto has you covered with Cooper tires for safety, value, and top quality performance. Plus, you may be eligible for rebates on purchases through the end of November. Trust your neighbors at Snowfire Auto and Cooper tires for a safer winter drive. Schedule your service today. Snowfire Auto, Route 2 Waterbury, snowfireauto.com.
New England Municipal Resource Center, NEMRIC, a company that recognizes the value of Vermont and all things local, municipalities, businesses, and WDEV.
Looking for a little joy this holiday season? Visit us at Woodbury Mountain Toys in Montpelier. Our shelves are packed to the rafters with everything from Legos to Stomp Rockets, telescopes to Tonka trucks, marble runs to Magnetiles. We have over 500 board games for everyone to play from ages 2 to 102. Peruse our selection of puzzles if you're in need of a distraction like I have been these days. Come in and play with us at Woodbury Mountain Toys on the other side of State Street in Montpelier, open 7 days a week.
November's Vermont Biz profiles Maura Collins, the executive director of the Vermont Housing Finance Agency, which was recently awarded $50 million to try and make a dent in the housing shortage. From building loans to building infrastructure, this brilliant and compassionate woman is up to the challenge. We also look at the Washington County Economic Report. After adapting to the post-pandemic economy, Washington County now has to adapt to the consequences of climate change. Call it washing away the new normal. What's going on in Vermont transportation? Are there new incentives business owners can offer employees? How did the summer flooding affect transportation around the state? Has a full recovery been made? We'll let you know. And Vermont Biz has a special section on the 14th annual Rising Stars class of 2023, highlighting the top 40 new leaders in Vermont under 40 years of age. All this and more is in the November issue of Vermont Biz, celebrating over 50 years of serious business, serious news. For a subscription, call 802-863-8038 or go to vermontbiz.com.
As Vermonters, we know that so much depends on the weather. When you need a reliable local weather forecast, it's literally at your fingertips with the WDEV weather phone. Locally dial 244-1172 or toll free at 1-800-585-1211. Roger Hill's weather forecast is just a phone call away on the WDEV weather phone, 244-1172 or 1-800-585-1211.
Want Brady to hear your opinion on the sports stories of the day? Text in at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show, right here on this Tuesday on WDEV AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. Tuesday at 6:30, time for our weekly Cats Chat segment. So every other week, it's either Aaron Deloney from the men's team for UVM or Emma Utterback from the women's team. So this week, we bring back on Aaron Deloney. The men's team out to a 2-0 start, had the lopsided victory over Division III Plattsburgh State the other day. Now they are, I believe, already in Myrtle Beach, getting ready for the pre-holiday tournament, one of the best mid-major events of the entire hoops calendar. So they will be taking on College of Charleston coming up Thursday morning at 11:30 a.m. That's Thursday morning. Aaron Deloney is with us now on the phone line. Aaron, thanks for being with us again. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well as well. Appreciate you being with us. Thursday afternoon, you're taking on College of Charleston. Really good program. I think popular 12-5 upset pick last year in the NCAA tournament. 11:30 a.m. Is that, weird, or is it normal because it's AAU-like, which all you guys have played coming up?
Yeah, I think we'll all be used to it. It's a kind of similar vibe to when we played in the Bahamas last year, playing at different times. And it'll be fun to play at a different time and see what we got early in the morning.
What was it like, or what are these tournaments like when it comes to team building, team chemistry, how much time for schoolwork? Kind of take me behind the scenes of what these tournaments are like, these trips are like.
Yeah, they're obviously fun to get away from, Vermont, being that the weather is obviously better no matter where we go, for one. And then, it's an opportunity to see where you are as a team. Kind of similar to last year, we got to go down to the Bahamas, and it was a test for us really early. And we showed that, we can compete with anybody, but also lost some games and showed us what we needed to improve at. So it's a good test early in the season and just to see where we're at.
Let's kind of recap where you guys have been here early on, 2 games in. We haven't spoken to you since the season started. I was impressed by the win against Merrimack. It was a game of runs. You guys got up big, didn't let them back in, then got up big again in the second half. They played a zone, which you had told us you don't usually see a lot of. So I thought you had 7 threes in that game. Overall, I thought that was a pretty good start. What was your takeaway from the opener?
Yeah, it was a good start. It's obviously good to win your first game no matter what, just to get that confidence and momentum. But yeah, like I said, zone isn't something that we'll probably see much this season. So it was good to, see it in that St. Mike's game for starters and then come back and have already had worked on it for Merrimack. I think we got good shots. We just, a couple more threes that would have been a way bigger win. But I think we played good. And so if we do get zoned later, we can go back to that and see what we can do.
The big win against Plattsburgh over the weekend. You guys win that game by 51. And look, I'm on record as saying that game didn't do anything for me as a fan, but that's easy for me to say. You're a player. You got a lot of guys on your team that, don't get a lot of experience or don't get a lot of game time, or guys that are young that haven't been around very much. How important is a game like that for them? How important was it for you to play in those kind of games when you were kind of first getting your feet wet?
Yeah, really big. Those are games for the younger guys to really prove themselves, the new guys to prove themselves and really get an opportunity to gain that trust from the coaches. If you can prove yourself in those games, you can play when it really matters later in the season.
The thing that I have said, my biggest takeaway so far through 2 games for you guys, this just seems like the most athletic Catamount team that I can remember. Right. Yeah. And I've been now around it for 8 years now. I've seen some really good teams with some really good players, but this seems like the most athletic team. We talk about O'Leary a lot. We've Sam Alamutu, who we're going to get to, Shamir Bogues. Like, this just feels like a team that likes to get up and down, can get vertical a bit. Do you feel the same way when you're in practice every day?
Definitely. There's a lot of dunks out there, more than I've seen, in my years here. And that's honestly like the funnest way to play basketball, when you just run. You don't got to run too many plays. You're in passing lanes, a couple lobs here and there in practice. Hopefully we can get transferred over to the games. But I think our defense creates it all. Once we do that, we can really get out and just run, dunk, and have fun out there.
We're talking with Aaron Deloney, UVM men's basketball standout here on the Brady Farkas Show. WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. You told us the situation in which you may get one, but you had a backdoor cut the other day for a wide open layup. And you elected to clap the backboard, but I was waiting to see if you would try it.
No, I don't think that was the time. It's got to be perfect. If it's 90% there, I'm not going to try it. It's got to be perfect.
Well, I was the one I was looking for out of that Plattsburgh game for sure. Let's talk about Sam Alamutu, because it's interesting. 2 years ago or 3 years ago at this point, when he committed, I was told by a Canadian recruiting service, like, this is going to be the most athletic guy that UVM has ever had. So like, I was instantly like on look, like I'm waiting for this guy. Redshirted the first year. Last year, it didn't really go his way in terms of playing time. And all of a sudden, he led the team in rebounds in just 21 minutes on opening night against Merrimack. He continued to play well the other day. What are you seeing from him and his growth? Because he's been very impressive to me.
Definitely. I think his confidence is just in a completely different spot than it was. When you don't have many games under your belt as a young player, it's kind of hard to kind of see like what you need to do out there, what exactly you need to do to stay on the court. And that's what I think he struggled with a bit. But in practice, he's been proving himself and doing exactly what the coaches have been asking him to do for the past year. And I think he's really just honed in on that and knows that for us to win, he needs to do that and to be a big part of the team. He needs to do that. So he's been doing a great job and, leads us in rebounds at 6'5" or however tall he is. And he's just a really tough player. And when he plays like the way he has been, it's a big help for us, especially on the boards.
You've probably heard this quote before. I've heard it a million times. Be quick, but don't hurry. I think it's an old John Wooden saying. And the broadcast was talking about Sam and saying, like, last year, he was very athletic. He would run really fast, but he needed to slow down a little bit and just kind of let the game come to him. Take me back to the start of your career. At what point did you really start to feel comfortable on the court where the game was moving slower?
Probably,
how long did it take?
Yeah, probably like 2 years ago. The first year I won the 6-man award. I think there was a game where I hadn't played like 3 games straight or something, and then I think Robin got hurt. I think it was against Colgate. I went in and made like my first 2 threes, and then I think at that point, like everything just changed for me. But it's just different because game reps are completely different than practice reps. I was doing it in practice, but it would just be different because games are more high tempo, faster pace, a lot of yelling going on. But I think that game was really the click for me. Everything changed, and I kind of got to see everything at a way slower speed and something I was able to manage.
We talked with Emma Utterback from the women's team last week, and she'll be with us next week again also. And I asked her this question. What did you think of the opening night doubleheader? Because I really liked it. Like, it felt like high school, but it was a chance for you guys to get to watch them to watch you. I know, obviously, you were getting ready for the game, so maybe you didn't see as much of theirs, but I really, really liked it. What did you guys think of it?
I thought it was cool, especially for the fans. It's a good experience for them to be able to see both those kind of games back to back. not have to show up on 2 separate days. I would just say it definitely felt like high school. I would just say like our routine kind of was off playing after them because we didn't get our full warm up, but it's not too big of a deal. But I think it was fun. We got to see a little bit of them, and then they got to watch us after. So it was different for sure.
What else has stuck out to you from the early part of the season? For me, TJ Long, his ability to shoot from deep is something that has stood out. What else have you noticed?
I still just think how deep we are. You know, we got a lot of guys that just know how to play with a lot of college reps under their belt, and even the freshmen are really good. I think Seth played really good in that D3 game. Like we talked about earlier, like that was big for him. Even if people watch and say, "Oh, that doesn't matter," for him, that it matters a lot. So I just think how many guys we got, and once everybody gets clicking and feels confident, I think we'll be really, really good.
From a leadership standpoint, what's the dynamic like for you? Because look, you're an all-conference player last year in terms of 6th man of the year. You're a preseason all-conference guy. I'm sure you want your shot, and I'm sure you can get your shot in a lot of different spots, but you also want to get guys involved and get new guys comfortable, et cetera. So how do you kind of go about picking your spot for when you want to take over a little bit versus kind of get everybody else involved?
100%. It's kind of just seeing how the game is going, the flow of the game, honestly. If I got a shot, I'm open, I'm going to take it. But also knowing who I'm out there with TJ Long and Matt, some of the best shooters I've played with. If I got one more, I'm passing that every single time. No question about it. So I think just picking my spots and, kind of seeing the course of the game. And when it's that time for me to step up and take over, I can definitely do it. Just listening to the coaches and seeing what they want.
TJ Long, Matt Veretto, you mentioned that. Why do lefties have such nice jump shots?
I don't know. I just don't think we're used to seeing it that much. So when we do, it's always pretty.
Let's talk a little rapid fire, get you out of here. Thanksgiving is coming up. We won't talk to you again until after the holiday. If somebody on the team is in charge of making the Thanksgiving meal, who's making it?
Good question. I'm going to go me or Jace. Those are the only two people that I really see in the kitchen like that, me and Jace.
Does everybody live together? I don't need everybody's housing, but does everybody live together? We got some guys in dorms and some in the house. What's the dynamic?
So the upperclassmen, we all live together. Half in the house upstairs, half in the house downstairs, and the younger guys are at the dorms.
Okay, so you're telling me that you're doing most of the cooking for like all the upperclassmen. Can you pawn this job off on somebody else, or do you like cooking?
I've never cooked like a big meal like that. That would be a lot. I usually just cook for me or like 2. But I could get in there and mix it up for sure.
Hey, D, man, what's Thanksgiving like? Like if you were home, if you were doing your own thing, wasn't on the team, what would Thanksgiving be like at the Deloney household?
Man, a lot of food. We honestly just make a really big meal. A lot of the family comes over, aunties, uncles, grandmas, grandmas, and we just eat, laugh, joke, and then food comas shortly after that.
Would we be watching football? Would we be playing a little bit in the backyard? What would that dynamic be?
Yeah, a lot of football will be on. My dad's a Broncos fan, so he'd be watching them, even though they're not the best team. But
won yesterday.
Yeah, true. I do.
Aaron, man, appreciate your time as always. We'll talk to you again in 2 weeks. Have a great holiday. Looking forward to the tournament this week, seeing how you guys do. Big game against Charleston coming up on Thursday morning. So, AD, thanks a lot. We'll catch up with you soon.
Cool. Appreciate you. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely. 2 weeks from now, we'll talk to Aaron Deloney. Next week, it will be Emma Utterback. So, College of Charleston, Thursday, 11:30. Friday is either St. Louis or Wyoming. And then Sunday, I don't know if this is a guaranteed game or if it's like a championship, like if you get their game. Not positive. I don't know, to be honest, frank with you. I think it's probably got to be a guarantee game. I don't know why they would go to not play 3 games. So I think there is a game no matter what coming up on Sunday, but they are playing Thursday, Friday, and then it looks like Sunday as well. It's a really good tournament down there, hosted by the College of Charleston, the Myrtle Beach Invitational. Aaron Deloney, gracious with his time as always here on the Brady Farkas Show. Sam Alamutu continues to be the most impressive thing to me. I mean, this is a guy who, again, Danny, we talked about this, right? Like, he was told to us as the most athletic recruit UVM's ever had. Didn't take the first 2 years, right? Redshirt 1 year, sit most of next year. This year, he looks comfortable. Will it always be that way? I don't know, but I certainly hope so. He looks like he is very much in his element right now, and he looks great. He's playing his role. And Look, when you get 9 rebounds a game, when you can get 9 rebounds in a game, you're going to get yourself some garbage points too. So I wouldn't be shocked if Sam Alamutu is kind of like, Danny, this is a little bit pre when we started working together, so I don't know that you were following the team. But I think Sam Alamutu has a chance to be a little bit like this year's version of Dre Wills. Do you remember Dre Wills?
I remember the name. I don't remember much of his game.
So he was Defensive Player of the Year in the America East. He was an absolute pest on defense, like in the best possible way. And he was gritty. He'd be in your shorts. He'd check you full court. He'd draw charges. Like Sam Alamutu is stronger than Jay Wills, than Dre Wills, excuse me. Like he's more physically imposing than Dre Wills. He's got more athleticism than Dre did, but similar in that I think he's going to be a guy who you have a hard time having off the floor in crucial moments, and he's going to get some garbage buckets. Like by the end of the year, could Sam Alamutu get 6 points a game and have 6 rebounds? Yeah, I think he could. And I'm very, very excited to continue to see his development. But yeah, Thursday at 11:30, we'll be able to talk more about it on the show live on Thursday, which makes me happy. Also, it's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Got a little something Celtics related to run by Danny. They come off a win yesterday against the Knicks. We'll finish the show with that next on DEV.
Lots of new things going on at Johnson Woolen Mills in Johnson. Gene Richards and his family have purchased it in January and have been updating, renovating, creating new products and spaces. The big picture, to continue making long-lasting Johnson Woolen Mills products right here in Johnson. USA-made products that'll stand the test of time. Men's, women's, children's, pet, household, and even golf. Stop in and see the changes, meet the Richards family, and take a tour. Johnson Woolen Mills, wear it for a lifetime. JohnsonWoolenMills.com, open 7 days a week.
The countdown to 4,000 is now underway at Lamoille Valley Ford. Folks, earlier this year, I challenged my 3 teams, and here's Rick the Kid to tell you how we're going to get there.
Dan set the bar high, but we're pulling out all the stops to make crazy deals and reach our goal of 4,000 vehicles sold by the end of 2023. With huge Ford year-end rebates, low-interest financing on many models to qualified buyers, and some incredible lease deals, now is a great time to get a vehicle at Lamoille Valley Ford. Come get your best deal on any new Ford SUV or light-duty truck in stock, and Lamoille Valley Ford will include 4 winter tires installed for just $1. Pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, no problem. Lamoille Valley Ford will still include 4 winter tires installed for $1. That's huge. Folks, right now at Lamoille Valley Ford, our lot is full with well over 300 new and pre-owned vehicles in stock and hands down Vermont's largest selection of Ford trucks.
Woo! So drive Route 14, 15, or 16 to Hardwick and get a great deal plus 4 snow tires for $1 during the countdown to 4,000 happening now at Lamoille Valley Ford.
Good signs catch your eye and promote your business. Hi, this is Trisha at Always On Time Signs. We design and produce custom signs for businesses big and small. Commercial signs, safety signs, banners, window, wall, and floor graphics, and much more. You'll be impressed by our customized designs and quick service, and you'll love our competitive prices. Come see how our experienced designers can create the sign you're looking for. Always On Time Signs in Berlin, online at alwaysontimesigns.com.
At Union Bank, they've helped local businesses and municipalities since 1891 with a full suite of commercial and municipal loans and services. Union Bank is local, so they can act quickly, provide personalized customer care, and have the personal, commercial, and municipal banking services that you need. Now, for a limited time, lock in a 12-month CD at 4.50 annual percentage yield and 4.40% interest rate. This offer is available online only. See website for details at ublocal.com. Union Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Granite, known for its strength, lies hidden deep in the earth and reveals itself only when the softer layers are worn away. At Rock of Ages, they dig deep to unveil the strength and toughness of the granite that lies below. Just like these college athletes dig deep to reveal the power within themselves, Rock of Ages is a proud supporter of Norwich hockey and reminds you that nothing is stronger or more beautiful than buried granite from Rock of Ages. Visit them on the web at rockofages.com.
Tracy Schamberger describes her experience advertising with WDEV.
When WDEV presented Age Well with an opportunity to co-present a weekly live interview, we jumped at the opportunity. We see a direct increase in calls to our helpline because of our spot on WDEV, which is exactly what we had hoped for. We have experienced incredible results.
Interested in advertising on WDEV? Contact us at WDEV@radiovermont.com.
The Brady Farkas Show now has an interactive text line, so reach out now at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on DEV. Jazz with George Thomas comes up next. That's on from 7 till 9. Then Eye on the World with John Batchelor. Reminder, tomorrow, we should have a very busy day tomorrow on the show. You're going to hear from Tom Caron. You're going to hear from Freddie Coleman. You're going to hear from Rob Dow, the UVM men's soccer coach, as they get ready to host an NCAA tournament game coming up on Thursday night. I don't know who exactly is going to be live, who's going to be taped. Sometimes you might just hear a clip or two. That's for me and Danny to work through. But, you'll have a lot of different voices a part of this show tomorrow. And yes, of course, there will be Patriots conversation as well. Celtics won yesterday, Danny. It wasn't always pretty at times. I'll admit I did not watch a lot of this. I was actually more intrigued by Monday Night Football yesterday, which I rarely watch. I rarely watch Monday Night Football because most of the matchups have frankly not been very good. But Bills are in the Patriots division. I know the roster well. Got a lot of friends who are Bills fans. I grew up in New York, so I know a ton of Bills fans. Russ used to play for the Seahawks, so I was intrigued by yesterday's game. I did get to some of the Celtics game, not all of it, but from my understanding, a little slow early. They were down double digits early, very physical game, a lot of missed shots, but they really turned it on there in the second half. They won the second half by 17 points.
Yeah, they turned it on when they needed to, so I thought it was a good win. I thought Knicks played good defense overall, so they make things difficult. But when we move the ball and play the right way, we have different ways to win.
I like that the offense looked better in terms of, total point output than it did on opening night against the Knicks, right? I think they put up 103 or 104 against the Knicks on opening night. Yesterday they put up, 10 more than that or so. So I thought that was better. The bench scoring, though, it does continue to be a problem. And I guess you can look at this two ways, right? They either need more bench scoring, or who needs bench scoring when you got 5 starters capable of going in double figures, which the Celtics have at any one time. When your starting lineup is this good, do you need that much from your bench? I continue to think that you do. Continue to be disappointed in what you see from Pritchard offensively. For a guy who's supposed to be a knockdown shooter, he hasn't been a knockdown shooter. That has turned into what Sam Hauser has become, but Pritchard has continued to kind of disappoint with his offensive output. But again, there's not a whole lot of complaints about a 9-2 team, but I would like to see more bench scoring. Danny?
Yeah, Pritchard only shot 3 shots last night, so he was 2 for 3, 1 for 3, and they only played 3 bench guys. So yeah, I don't know what Missoula is exactly thinking there. I know they're pretty balanced at the top, but I would like to see guys like Brissett play more and see if they can establish a real role on the team.
I'd like to see more than 8 guys play. And it's interesting, right? This kind of feels like you can't have it all ways, right? We complain when the stars don't play, and we complain when there's load management, and why don't guys want to play more? And here the Celtics are playing all their guys for as long as possible and not giving the bench guys a lot of opportunity, and all their guys are always in the lineup. And here we are complaining that, the starters are being asked to do too much. There's a balance there, right? I want the Celtics starters to be active, but I'd like to see 10 guys playing in a game, especially this early in the season. I don't want load management in terms of guys sitting out games, but if a starter can play 31 minutes instead of 37 minutes, I think that is a benefit. Again, maybe that just wasn't the game for the bench guys. It wasn't a blowout. They had just gotten through blowing out Toronto, so guys did get some, did get a chance to take a lot of the fourth quarter off on Saturday. Maybe that plays into it as well, but I would like to see some more bench productivity. What's interesting too, Danny, is we've talked a lot about the Patriots today in terms of their drafting and developing. Well, I saw an interesting take about the Celtics, and it's one we've made before. It's not an original take, but it's just worth pointing out that the Celtics not only have had the ability to draft well when we talk about guys like Tatum and Brown, obviously, but also have had the ability to develop guys, right? Derek White is playing his best basketball of his career as a member of the Celtics. And, Hauser has gotten better, right? Another drafted guy, but Hauser has gotten better.
A lot better.
Under their watch here. So just the ability for the Celtics, and, Smart, drafted and developed. Isaiah Thomas, obviously, developed as a member of the Celtics. So historically here, the last 7-8 years, of where this core has been around or in place. Not only have they drafted well, but they have gotten guys a lot better under their watch, and that is something you can't say for every team in sports and not for every team in the NBA. Celtics do deserve credit, whether it's Brad Stevens or whether it's Danny Ainge or whether it's Ime Udoka or whether it's Joe Mazzulla, from a coaching staff standpoint and a front office standpoint of identifying guys who are coachable, of getting guys better, and then also hitting pretty well in the draft as well.
Yeah, and it's not perfect. Like, they've missed on guys like, remember Romeo Langford, that didn't work out at all. But if you hit on more than half the guys, you're doing a pretty good job.
If you hit on Tatum and Brown, on two top 20 players in the NBA.
Right. I'm just talking late first round. Yeah. Like, those are toss-ups. You don't know what you're going to get completely out of those, but you just hope you can develop them into some kind of role player.
And I mean, this is good for, like, this is the way you win in the NBA. Like, this is the way you win in sports. I will always say this, that homegrown players, like, free agency helps. It's not meant to build your entire roster, right? We saw what happened in Brooklyn. Right, you build a Brooklyn team full of free agents and give up assets to go make trades to go get James Harden, and the thing is shot. The system is shot. If the Clippers don't win with this Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, James Harden triumvirate, which, knock on wood, they're not going to, like, this got to be shot.
So far, so bad for them too.
Yeah, Houston was in shambles for several years, getting after Harden and all that. So look, the Warriors won it. Well, drafted and developed a bunch of times. OKC got to the finals, drafted and developed with Durant, Westbrook, and Harden when he was there. The internal talent is always the way to go. If you can do it, which is hard, if you can do it, that is always the preferable way, right? Free agency helps. It's not meant to make your roster entirely. That's going to do it for us here on the Brady Farkas Show. I want to thank Danny, as always. I want to thank you on the text line. Peter, our guy, says, hey, thanks for the UVM Hoops segment. I love those. Thanks to WDEV for making it happen. So, yeah, we'll have the Aaron Deloney podcast. I think it's already up, actually, on our podcast channel. Our full show podcast is about to be there. So thanks to Danny for engineering the program. As always, we will check in again tomorrow for a full 90 minutes. A lot of different voices on the show. Tom Karen, Freddie Coleman, Rob Dow, all of them. Jazz with George Thomas is next.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same. But at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission.